Hey, what's going on, everybody? Man, Eric Wilson, Sports Arena here on a Thursday night. And just had a couple things I wanted to talk about. But as always, when I start the show here on the Sports Arena, let me just say this. We need justice for Breonna Taylor. We need justice for Elijah McClain. And we need justice for Specialist Vanessa Gillian. So, well, let's get down to business. Let me welcome in my brother this evening to join me here tonight on the Sports Arena. This man's putting in all the work. Mr. Alex Fleming joining me here. Alex, what's going on, brother? How are you?
Can you hear me okay? Can you hear me
Yes, sir.
okay?
I got you. You're good to go. Yes, sir.
Can you hear me?
It's like Verizon. I got you.
I'm of Wi-Fi. Yeah, I'll be right back.
Okay. While Alex finishes fixing up his difficulties, let me just remind everybody again, uh, you know, as sports gets ready to come back, we cannot ignore what is going on, and we got to keep the conversation moving, and I guess having those uncomfortable conversations that some people may not want to have, but guess what? We're going to keep talking about them. More on that as time goes on. But on the show tonight, definitely want to talk to y'all. First and foremost, make sure you follow me here on Facebook. You can also follow me on Twitter. You know, it's been great. There he is again, my man Alex Fleming. What's going on, brother?
Sound much better, don't I?
Oh yeah, you're good. You're golden, man. How are you?
Man, just working. It's July, and I
Yep.
remember what I was doing last July. And I don't want people thinking I'm not as hungry now as I was back then. I remember I told you I was gonna attack the season coming. We're in the middle of a pandemic. I can't, no, it's not a time to slow down.
No, you're right about that. But as always, you got to take time, both mentally and physically, to get the mind right. So, my brother, a couple of things I wanted to talk to you about here this evening on the Sports Arena. And my first one is, and I'm sure you've already heard the news, that the NFL is basically stating that players are not allowed to swap jerseys after each game. So, this is a head scratcher for me because I'm thinking to myself, so you're going to allow them to come in contact with each other when
All
they're
game.
playing
All game.
exactly the whole game. But at the end of the game, you can't stand next to a person and swap jerseys. Yeah.
Bro, it gets better. It gets better.
Okay.
On the bench, you have to wear a face mask or an apparatus, or like unless you're a Karen, on the bench you always gotta cover your face. Which
Right.
which halfway makes sense. If you're in the game, you don't have to wear one. Bro, you're
What?
sweating.
What? What?
You're sweating. You're trash talking for damn
Right.
sure.
Of course.
You're running
Right.
and you're creating contact. Now, an N95 should be built in, but JJ Watt was one of the many people who I feel is not going to play this year that says it's not going to feel right unless they have a regular face mask. Yet, A, on the bench, you have to wear a breathing apparatus, so you can't breathe freely. B, you don't have to wear one in the game when you're actually making contact with people.
Yeah.
Which makes this whole jersey swap thing just asinine. Oh, bro, you're gonna let me tackle him. You're gonna let me harass him. You're gonna let me be next to him for 60 minutes, but you're not gonna let me swap jerseys?
Yeah. I don't know. That's a question that I'm still trying to figure out and wrap my head around. And I'm really trying to understand what is the NFL thinking. So while I got you here, let me bring in my man, Mike Carotenuto, NBC Sports Radio 1060. What's going on, Mike? How are you, brother?
What up, man? Just trying to work with my new computer. And you guys, Alex, Eric, I want to break something to you. I have no future ever as a hacker, just so you guys know.
Okay. I'm sure there's I'm sure the story behind that.
Yeah, I mean, no, it's basic. I can handle basic setup. I can type, I can email, but when they explain something, it's like instructions putting stuff together. They can't just say, here's everything numbered, just do it this way, which would be really easy in any kind of instructions. But with like transferring stuff and iCloud, it's like it's not hard, but they explain it like it's hard. And so I just have too much I have too much frustration to be a hacker. I had to have my niece who just turned 21. She's looking at me and I'm like, I know I sound like your grandma complaining about technology, but why can't they just say, look, hit these 5 buttons and there you go?
So, Mike, definitely want to ask you, brother. Alex and I were just talking about this whole NFL basically saying players are not allowed to swap jerseys at the end of the game. Can you speak on this, please?
It makes no sense. I mean, look, I grew up playing soccer. I mean, competitive soccer, and they've done that in soccer for 100 and some odd years. I don't think they are now either, because I've been watching some and not everybody does it every match, but I mean, especially club wise, but like international wise, some people will always swap jerseys. Like if you're going to be hitting each other and touching each other, I'm with you. Like, what the hell's the difference? Like,
right.
Again, that makes no sense. But
okay, Mike, I got to hear this. How are you going to justify this? Please tell me.
I can't. I knew you were going to talk about this, and even when I was getting frustrated setting my computer up, I was like, this is like the same thing with the NFL. Like, if me and Alex are hitting each other, like, I don't get it. I guess maybe because we know a lot of offensive linemen, even quarterbacks, I mean, receivers, they're wearing gloves. So maybe that's the thing. Are they only going to wear like the gloves for one game and they don't want them to exchange jerseys because maybe they're just going to get rid of them after the game? I mean, the NFL prints money, so who cares if it's another, $500 jersey?
Wait, hold on.
That actually made sense. That half-ass made sense.
But how much
merchandise because
are you losing by just taking the jerseys and throwing them away? Are you kidding me?
Right. Because a lot of times, guys, they auction them for charity. Like, they'll take the game jerseys and they'll right.
So we're going to take a whole season and just say we're throwing away all these jerseys because we're concerned. And I get it, and I never want to make light of COVID-19. I'm not trying to make light of this. Please understand, to everybody watching and listening, I'm just not rationing the fact that you're allowing these players to go out there, have full contact with each other, but at the end of the day, you can't show a sign of unity and respect and give your jersey to another player and receive their. Go ahead, Alex.
All right. Yeah. I'm gonna try to think of the opposite side of this. So roll with me. All right. Let's see how I can do this.
It's all you.
If the wide receivers and the running backs are wearing gloves, that means they're not trying to make initial contact with the players. With that being said, if I'm wearing gear and I'm sweating and my perspiration is in it, that means my endorphins, my adrenaline, my scent is in on the jersey. Now, flip side, if a linebacker is chasing me down and running down, he's going to have his blood, sweat, and tears in that jersey as well. Now, if we exchange jerseys, I'm inviting a foreign bacteria not only into the locker room, but around other players and my body. Now, I've been inviting that with all the contact that I've been getting, but I can just wash myself and keep myself isolated away from the players. Hashtag that's never going to happen because players always have contact with each other. But I'm speaking in metaphors. If I take that jersey and I keep that with me, it's in my sole possession, I'm going to contact him, I'm going to contact him, I'm going to contact him. Look how many people I infect with the foreign substance with that jersey.
Okay.
Now, that is the only logical thing I can think about this.
Okay.
And Eric, let me go one quick step. Like, to Alex's point, it's almost like Avenger style, because like they can even and when I say that, like high tech, like they can maybe for some reason like test all the jerseys for the contact, because if it starts to spike amongst NFL players, then you have all these jerseys that you can somehow put away to testing, and people's way smarter than me scientifically, as crazy as it sounds. But like Alex just said, you can, the endorphins, the sweat, everything like that we have from our bodies, you can see that. So maybe they're going to save it for like advanced testing, which I know sounds crazy.
No,
but
no. I want to thank both of you because that makes sense to me. And I want to, Mike, Alex, thank you both because now I have a better understanding. Because I guess I just had a quick knee jerk reaction because I'm thinking to myself, as Alex said to start the show here on the Sports Arena when we first started talking about this, you're full contact with the person. There's going to be that type offensive lines and defensive lines. That's their job is to basically push the other man aside to allow. Go ahead.
Bro. Okay, now do me a favor.
Sure.
And look up the top 10 teams in the NFL.
Okay.
Besides skill position, what do they also have? A starting and backup offensive line. Okay. Offensive linemen are like pawns in the chess game right now. When one falls, it's only to advance. The more offensive line that you have during COVID-19 season, the better off you're going to be. There's not a better team with more offensive linemen than the New Orleans Saints. They've been drafting offensive linemen since 2011.
Okay. All right.
Think about how many offensive linemen are going to be in contact with defensive players. The trenches is where people are going to make their bread and butter this NFL season. Right. Regardless if people get sick or not, you have to think, who's going to be in contact the most with each other? It's not going to be wide receivers with corners or linebackers. It's not going to be running backs with defensive linemen and linebackers and safeties. No, it's going to be that trenches, the front four versus the offensive line. So if you're going to have a way to have a full actual season to where there's going to be a Super Bowl, playoffs, so on and so forth, it's survival of the fittest. It's Darwinism. You need as many offensive linemen as possible. I'm rolling with the New Orleans Saints and the Baltimore Ravens if we're looking at offensive linemen during the longevity of this season.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. I appreciate, gentlemen, for just clarifying that and helping me better understand it. I really appreciate, Alex, your perspective, and Mike, your take. Let's move on to, I'm a Philly guy here, so I understand his protection process, but I've always joked and said I'm walking out the house in a hazmat suit. Well, Joel Embiid must have heard me because the man showed up in Orlando. And from my understanding, he flew in the hazmat suit. So, I mean, I understand taking the necessary precautions before going into the bubble. I just feel like the brother may have took it just one step a little too far. That's just me. Mike, I'm going to defer to you on this one.
Well, I was laughing like Alex was too when I saw the picture. But like, to me, again, it is funny and it's hard not to laugh. But at the same time, it is almost a wee bit insensitive. It's not as bad. I mean, Rudy Gobert got blasted for what he did, and I think Joel Embiid is trying to make everybody laugh about it when it's like, I mean, come on, really? I appreciate the humor, and I see it, but at the same time, like, I mean, I was laughing. I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I could not stop. I'm like, why am I laughing at this? Because it's not funny. But it is funny. It's like Spaceballs. It was so stupid you had to laugh.
Right. Yeah. It was one of those where I saw it. Laugh. Oh. The only thing missing,
I can't stop laughing, but then I think he's insensitive as hell.
The only thing missing was the fact that it wasn't yellow. Because I was like,
oh, touche.
But you're
Back to the Future style. Then I would have been okay with it. It was Back to the Future. I'd have been okay with it.
My whole thing was I just could not. I'm like, okay. And like you, listen, I'm never going to sit here and say that I looked at that picture. I looked at that video, and tonight must have been just the night of head scratchers. Alex is still laughing from this because I just can't.
Because Alex is right. You can't not have that reaction. Like, I love Joel Embiid's humor, but his insensitivity trumps it at the same time.
But is he being insensitive? Maybe he's just trying to draw a lighter feel to it. Alex, I was saying, laughing is truly contagious.
He is insensitive. He is trying to draw a light to it and say it. If he's feeling the whole bubble thing's ridiculous. But all I'm going to say, because the other haters on whatever, Twitter, Instagram, the trolls that just don't want to like Joel Embiid anyway, are going to say, like, what about the families that have had people die from this? You showing up, making a laughing thing of it like, oh, you're in a hazmat suit. Like, have you been in it the whole time? Like, I get the message. And he's also sending the message. Even after I laughed, Alex, for like 5 minutes, I was also like, you know what? He's also ripping on the idiots that complain about wearing masks. So he's kind of like encompassing the full rainbow, Eric, but at the same time, like, you laugh and you're like, but maybe people are going to be walking around in these, but people that are oversensitive, like, well, why are you laughing? Like, if you've had, someone that died from COVID, then it's kind of, it's like he's doing the right thing, but when you're making everybody laugh, there's going to be the people that are way sensitive about it that are just like, they'll look at Alex and think Alex and me are insensitive because I couldn't stop laughing either.
He is a universal, habitual line stepper. Okay. Regardless what side you fall on, whether you're a Karen, whether you're a Republican, whether you lost someone or not, here's what you need to realize. COVID-19 is real. All right? That's not fake news. That's not a hoax that somebody said quite some time ago. It's realer than real. Now, did he take it too far? You damn right he took it too far. But that's what makes it so funny. He made sure that stepping into this bubble, there wasn't any way, shape, or form that he was going to catch anything that's going to cost him this season. Now, if you're on Joel Embiid's side, he's showing cleanliness. He's not playing games. For those who didn't take the situation real, it's best if you take it real because the NBA is trying to entertain you when all you take these black men and white men for are entertainers. All right? And for all those clowns who just refuse to wear a damn face mask, you're the problem.
Yeah.
You are the problem.
Absolutely.
Now, on the flip side, bro, 0 to 100. I mean, damn.
Okay. Yeah, there was no shifting from first to second. It was from first to fifth. And
0 to bro.
Yeah.
The brother has no chill. But as you can see how he handles Philadelphia fans, you already know that he was going to offend people. Was he a little bit insensitive? Maybe he was. I was too busy laughing. I think this is one of those that's just, it's going to be swept under the rug because whether you were a fan of his or not, you got to let him go because we need the comic relief.
Right.
Okay. And in that moment, I looked at it, and of course, my first, you want to call it a knee-jerk reaction, call it whatever you want to call it. I'm looking at it, and I'm like, really? I'm like, come on, bro. I'm like, I know you better than this. Like, I've interviewed you in the locker room. You are one. Honestly, interviewing him, and Alex will attest to this. He's a very subdued kind of guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's very chill, very relaxed, very much just kind of the. Not saying he goes with the flow, but he beats to his own drum.
Why do you think I'm laughing, bro?
I know.
Well, he beats to his own drum, but basically, if I read between the lines of what you're saying and what Alex just said, like, he's not from Philly, but obviously Philly's rubbed off on him. So,
yes.
It happens.
It happens.
But it's unfortunate because he was such a good guy before it did.
And he's a better
hey,
guy
I'm from Jersey,
now.
I can say that.
And he's a better guy now that he's in Philly. So, hey, one last thing I want to talk to you guys. Go ahead, Mike.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, but Alex, I echo that sentiment too, because Arizona, I mean, the cases, I know you guys see here too. I mean, they've skyrocketed just like they have there. These people complaining at the stores. Like, you know me, as much as I love the debate, Eric, I don't get involved. This lady had like 2 kids with her, and she's trying to get into fries, long story short. And the manager's like, look, you need to put a mask on, and so do they. And I'm walking by, I go, and she's like yelling at the manager. I go, that's an awesome example to set for your kids. Maybe they'll get it and have to be on a ventilator in a few weeks. I said, I'm not a sky falling person, but they're just like refusing to wear masks because they can't breathe, or it's inconvenient. I'm like, right. And this is why Arizona skyrocketed. It's ridiculous.
Listen, but Florida's no better. Whether Alex is on the East Coast or me here on the West Coast, it's no better. I mean, it's ridiculous. I can't walk into, I have done so much. I've tried to be out and just try to go where I need to go and come home. But I mean, just walking into my local grocery store, first off, They got arrows to tell you which aisle to go up and down, and people still don't follow that simple rule, number one. Number two, and more importantly, then when you do decide to go down the wrong aisle, you don't have a mask on, and you just want to stop in the middle trying to find something. And listen, I give everybody at least 3 to 5 to find what they're looking for. No, this isn't supermarket sweep. You got to find what you're looking for. But at least respect the fact that there are other people in the same aisle as you, behind you, trying to either get what you got or something further down. And out of respect, we're not moving. So it's like, I'm cognizant of the fact that, number one, I got a mask on. That's first and foremost. But number two, I know what I need. And I got to find it and keep it moving because I'm not the only one in the store. So
right.
I guarantee you, if I showed up to that store in a Joel Embiid hazmat suit, you wouldn't have any of those issues, bro. You wouldn't have any of those issues.
Oh, that's awesome. That would be fun. You send me one, I'll go. I'll come. I'll drive out there because I can't fly in. I can't fly in, so I'll drive out there, and the three of us will just get hazmat suits and go from place to place.
I'm telling you right now, that's the new Halloween costume. If we have a Halloween this year, people gonna walk around in hazmat suits for Halloween.
Thank you. I'm doing the Marty McFly from
Are you?
Back to the Future. Oh yeah, that I mean Joel Embiid kind of sewed that up for me.
There you go.
I'm having the hazmat suit with the Michael Myers.
Oh, Lord.
Solid.
Okay. One last thing I want to talk about with you guys tonight, with MLB starting up and things going on, and the league just kind of getting themselves back. They finally, after months and months and months, settled on a season, a number, and now we find out that there's 60-some cases of COVID. I mean, guys, help me understand here. Why is the MLB even bothering to come back? I mean, don't get me wrong. The NFL has seen cases. NHL has seen cases. NBA has seen cases. But I feel like Major League Baseball has been like the top now as far as most number of cases. I might be wrong on that. But just as they came out with 60, I'm like, well, damn. Like, why are you even having a season? I'm still like, I don't understand it.
Well, because they have egg on their face. I mean, the owners and the players, and we've touched on this. I mean, even with Ruth, and I know obviously Jake's a big baseball guy too, but that's the same thing. Like, they have egg on their face for always like putting the numbers out there. Like, we've beat to a pulp, making a point. Like, owners saying they're losing those players. Yeah, they signed a contract, they want to get paid. So if they don't come back and all these other sports came back, I mean, NBA, NHL, obviously NASCAR, golf, all that stuff, women's soccer, MLS as well. So you have egg on your face. You always seem to alienate fans. You're not going to get younger fans that way, which all three of us know that's been a huge movement by MLB for, I mean, at least the last 7 years to get younger fans. So, I mean, they knew they were going to have positive tests too, just like every sport. So to me, Eric and Alex, that's the thing. Like you quarantine them, you get through it. I mean, guys are opting out. Good for them. And I actually have some sort of breaking for you. I have a source close to the umpires, and they're basically going to work camps, but with where they live. There's a lot of them in the parts of the country they live. They haven't gotten their 60-game season schedule yet. There's been a few umpires because of health reasons that have opted out for the season.
Wow.
So, but they're like, some of them, like there are a lot of major league umpires that live here in Arizona. So they'll work like the Arizona camp, and then some in California. I mean, yeah, the Angels, Dodgers, Padres, stuff like they'll work camps like that. So wherever closest to where they live is where they're going to work the camps, and then they're going to get their schedules. But from what my source was saying is that they're going to, basically, it's just like the teams only playing, their division opponents. It's 40 games and then 20 with people in their region. Because, like, for example, the Diamondbacks aren't going any further east in Texas. They do play the Rangers. I saw that. So I think umpires, depending on the part of the country that they live in, are only going to stay on that side. They're going to, from what he said, there's no final thing of it, but he's guessing nobody's going to zigzag cross country.
Huh.
Eric, Mike,
yes, Alan.
Everyone in the congregation. I remember when I put everyone to bed when it came to the MLB season. I remember when MLB was worried about their money instead of the sake of entertaining America. And then when they finally deliberated after the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth chance of getting it right. Then they were thinking, we really have to protect Houston now that we're going to have a 60-game season. Then it became people getting hit in the head by baseballs like Masahiro from his own teammate. And then we lost Nick Markakis from the Atlanta Braves. And then Charlie Blackmon of the Colorado Rockies. And then Ian Desmond said, you know what? Black Lives Matter. I'm not going to play the baseball season. And then you had pitchers who were worried about the pitch count and them getting sweaty and having contact with baseballs. And that became an issue. And then money became an issue again. And people told Bryce Harper to shut the hell up. So now you're asking 60 players who just contracted COVID out of 524 to play a 60-game season, which means next to nothing in August, September, and October, because now playoffs are in November, because that's how ass backwards they've handled this. To watch baseball and not feel some form of used or subjugated to the money, the politics, the greed, and the lack of care about the American government and public when it came to entertainment when we needed the most. These were supposed to be the boys of summer. They should have been playing before hockey, basketball starting again, or even the NFL deliberating with whether or not we can jersey swap. And what are they doing? Half-ass practicing, catching COVID, and saying they don't want to play this season one by one by one. Ladies and gentlemen, put MLB to bed. They'll play 13 games, people will get sick, and then the season will end. I'm going to keep you buried and offer you more dirt if you need it.
Wow.
Let the congregation say amen. Let the congregation say amen.
I'll say amen, but man, I don't know. I'm just saying that they look bad, and I agree with you. And all the points you made, I mean, it is all about the money. And from the player standpoint, again, the owners nobody's going to think a billionaire is poor or, multi-millionaire is poor. And from the player standpoint, like they should have been, if they would have had an agreement, think about this. Okay. They were going to basically be in spring training when the PGA, that first weekend, they were back in Dallas, guys. When the PGA had their first tournament in Dallas, that's when about the time, because they were saying after Memorial Day, but they either were going to bring the teams back to Florida and Arizona, which of course would have been terrible because then there wouldn't have been the season. Right. But if they would have stayed, basically, at their home stadiums for their spring training or whatever and gotten ready, they could have been playing, like Alex said, I mean, literally at the end of last month. Or maybe even the 4th. The 4th of July was supposed to be like the big kickoff weekend, last weekend. So they could have been playing. So they wouldn't have been starting when golf did, but they obviously would have started before the NBA and NHL. Soccer beat them back, like I said. But it's one of those things where it was, again, the money and the owners, this and that, and the players are saying, just tell us when and where. And then now guys are opting out. But Alex, to your point too, the guys opting out, I mean, they definitely have their money saved. And guys that aren't making as much are like, okay, we'll play, and we'll see what happens with it. But yeah, it'll be interesting that they can't have sunflower seeds in the dugout anymore and stuff like that.
They can't have sunflower seeds. They can't have peanuts. They can't have bubble gum. They can't have Cracker Jacks. I mean, it's over. Just hey.
Maybe if they played in a hazmat suit, it'd make the game more fun too.
I will say this.
Okay.
If Mike Trout can run the bases with a face mask on in Los Angeles heat, then all of these damn Karens can wear a damn face mask when they're shopping for alcohol or groceries. Grow the hell up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's thank you, Alex. I was getting ready to go right there with that.
It proves you can breathe. It's not hard to breathe. You're just fine. You can do it if somebody, like you said, is running and doing something cardiovascular wise and has a mask on.
It's people like that that's going to cost us an NFL season. And
Alex,
I'm starting to get heated.
I told you. If we do not have an NFL season, or if the NFL season gets paused because of the just stupidity that is out there currently in our society, I'm telling you right now, you will see more live me on social media than you have ever wanted to see my face. And I'm telling you, I'm not shaving. I may not even shower. So you better be thankful that I'm doing one of these, because I'm going to tell you, if you pause my NFL season, there will be hell to everybody out there who has not taken the time, the respect, or the consideration to at least give us something. We have been dying for it since the end of The Last Dance.
Bro,
Okay?
we've been putting out material out of nowhere for
Yeah.
3.5 months. And now we're this close, and these clowns want to start not wearing masks?
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you right now, public service announcement. You do not want Alex Fleming, Michael Carotenuto, and Eric Wilson if we don't have sports. Y'all better find a way to shut us down, because if you don't, be prepared to hear from all of us.
Well, and
Guys,
here's the thing too.
Go ahead, Mike.
I think it real quick. I think it's gonna. I don't think it's gonna be a pause. And I know. I mean, J.J. Watt's statement today said, no decisions have been made, but at the same time, I literally think that it's going to start late. I think it's probably going to start. The season's going to start 2 weeks later. But not to get a pause. That's what I'm saying, because I think if they rush it with everything that's come down and we've talked about, I think it'll start 2 weeks late and they'll figure it out.
That's fine. I'm totally fine with that. No problem whatsoever. But once you start it, don't you dare stop
it. That gives me extra time to set my fantasy lineups. That's fine. That's fine.
Is the name of your team Hazmat Dreams?
Stop. Copyright. I'm taking that one.
For real? Okay, fine. Damn.
I'm kidding, Alex. I'm kidding. It's yours, bro. It's all yours. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me here tonight. Michael Carotenuto, NBC Sports Radio, 1060 The Sports Hangover, out there in the hot-ass Arizona. My man, Alex.
One more thing.
What?
The Believe podcast, Believe in Pac-12 basketball.
Oh, yes.
Can subscribe.
Yes.
iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, all that good stuff. I'm with Ahmad Starks. He was a point guard at Oregon State, played for Craig Robinson, obviously Michelle Obama's brother.
Yep.
So we dropped our 3rd episode. Every Friday, a new episode comes out. So please check the podcast out.
Yes, make sure you check it. I'm sorry, I did forget about that. The Believe podcast, Pac-12, with my man, Mr. Michael Carotenuto. Alex Fleming, this man's got a resume about yay long. I'll run it down real quick. Turf Talk on Saturdays at 10 a.m. Check him out. He's on the Buck Report on Wednesdays. The Sports Web on Wednesday nights. He does the Perspective on Tuesdays. He usually joins me here Monday night when we do the Sports Arena alongside Michael and Jake and Ruthie. And then he's got Sports Talk Unfiltered on Thursday. Fantasy and Flavors. I can't wait for that to come back this football season. Definitely want to be a part of that. And then he's working Friday and Sunday. So this man is all over the place doing big things. But of course, these two gentlemen, thank you very much. Your man, Eric Wilson, Sports Arena. Hey, everyone have a great night. Thank y'all for tuning in. Need to get some comments in here, but we will next time. Talk to y'all later. Peace.